To call the December 7th meeting of the Joint Zoning Council to order. First item of business, the approval of the minutes of November the 2nd.
So moved. Second.
And any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Treasurer's report.
All right. Well, first of all, I want to thank all of you for approving this is the beautiful new laptop.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. And what I know, I'm sorry. So that's the last of the crappy handmade reports. I've got to work on. I'm still learning Quicken, but it's loaded. So now I got to figure out how to do the nice reports and everything like that. I'll do it as a new best practice. Give everybody more confidence and comfort. I'll just include the last bank statement with every treasurer's report too, so you can see that there. But we started the balance of 21,846.49. We bought the laptop Quicken, 1943.96. Checks will go out today for David Ducko and Kenny Law. The debit card has already hit, so now we can use the debit card for stuff like postage and whatever else we need. And that gives us final balance of 18,189.16.
Great. Any questions on the treasurer's report? Do we have a motion to approve it?
So moved.
Kathleen?
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. And just for purposes of what we put into the minutes, we'll have continued to put the statement or put your treasurer's report into it. I will not put the first action.
Okay.
Because this goes online
All right.
and I don't want folks to see.
Yeah.
the-
Right.
Numbers. Yeah,
Mhm.
even though there's only 4 digits. It's still got too much.
Oh, yeah.
Too much stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
I
mean, you could redact all that stuff, but it's not worth it.
Yeah, it's not worth it. All right. Quick solicitor's report.
Yes, Newtown Township Board of Supervisors approved the Writing Academy revision ordinances yesterday at their meeting. They were the last of the 3 to do so. So it now has been unanimously approved and it can go forward with codification. As far as any other changes, only thing I can mention is that the wireless communications ordinance, we've gotten something back from our legal expert. We're going through all of that and we'll still be reported at the next meeting with the new submission.
Okay. Well, as long as we were talking about the writing ordinance and you mentioned codification, I did get a letter from General Code asking if we wanted to do an update. And looking at what we have in the pipeline, this is the only thing that's in the pipeline, and I'm not sure that it's worth
That's what this,
spending the money.
is this a new business?
Yeah, I'm not sure it's worth spending the money to do a codification for one section of the zoning
Yeah,
ordinance.
assuming these other things get approved in the next year. Yeah.
Then that'll be, ample opportunity, so. Is that okay with everyone?
Mhm.
All right, good. So I'll let them know. Forget them. All right,
Thanks for that. Thanks.
moves on to the planner, the big item for today.
Okay. All right. Wow, this was quick. We really jumped down quick.
Placeholder gives it handy.
That's because we're gonna spend the next 3 hours on what you're doing.
Okay, so I guess we had gotten all the changes back, or I shouldn't say changes, but the recommendations from each of the townships. We received all of them now, and Jeremy actually went through and put together, he sort of just compiled them in this one document that everybody should have gotten. I don't know if you want to go through each one by one, is that the best way, or?
It might be, I mean, I had a couple of comments that I just wanted to put forward, even though this is a Newtown section. I had 1 or 2 items I just wanted to question, so.
Okay.
I just
can we, I just had a feeling, should we table this until January? Are we getting it into the whole comprehensive plan tonight?
Not
I
the whole,
see that you added this,
not the whole
just today,
plan,
right?
just the changes that were proposed
by,
by the three townships. And then that was going to go back to the Bucks County Planning Commission, and they were going to come, finish off the next draft to be circulated.
Whatever is agreed.
Whatever we agreed to tonight.
well, we had a couple questions, I think, with Newtown. With Upper Makefield's changes, I think we would just like to give our planning commission and our supervisors a chance to look them over before everything goes through. Is that possible?
Of course it's possible. And that's what we did with the other revisions and recommendations that we're receiving.
Okay,
So we could go through them tonight, but our decisions won't be final until or we could not go through them tonight, but
Well, I prefer that we go through them tonight so that we at least
know what's
bring up
there.
any discussion items. Because again, I got two items in the Newtown section I'd like to just comment on.
Mhm.
And
I don't think we've had a chance to really look at what we just got, like I just got it yesterday morning.
But the Newtown.
Oh,
part of
oh,
it, that we've.
Oh, yeah, well-
We've had it submitted 6 months ago, so that's not, we're not talking about the Upper Makefield, that's something what to discuss as far as
Okay.
Newtown's piece of. it.
okay.
so, well,
One thing I was just gonna add, with what you got in terms of the compilation of the changes. The way it's organized is it's Newtown, Upper Macon, Wrightstown, divided into the three comments, but the beginning part for Newtown. There's an A and then there's a B. So the B deals with the comments from, I guess, the Fire Association president. But the A comments, my understanding was that Newtown, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but Newtown Township was thinking that this, what's called their addendum, was going to be something attached to the back. That's what I thought. Am I wrong?
That's correct.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I just
Mhm.
wanted to make that clear because when I
Yeah.
looked at this, and Jeremy did a great job putting it together, he couldn't be here tonight, but when I looked at this, it doesn't really say that. So I just wanted to be clear. My understanding was the changes that Newtown proposes to the actual draft within the document. I think that comes more from the recommendations by the fire chief,
Right.
president.
From Warren, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then the beginning part, my understanding was they wanted to attach this at the back of the document.
The updates by the fire chief, by Warren Dells.
I think the updates by the fire
That was to be
chief
the
were
main-
changes to the
Yeah,
actual
changes to the
language.
main
Okay,
fire.
okay.
Other
Yeah.
recommendations, but the suggestion was, they were relevant to Newtown, and we wanted to use them primarily, we didn't want to enforce that on everybody else.
Right.
Because everybody has their own priorities, but for Newtown, we wanted to include them so everybody saw them, but we wanted to
77.
for focus on Newtown's issues.
Yeah, we're having trouble. Let us-
They'll probably be there.
Trying to find it.
It's an addendum, not changes to the main document.
Right.
So where B has a couple of suggested changes to the main document.
So what you have, it's not clear. I just wanted to give that.
and I understood that.
Oh, okay.
I still had two issues with the Newtown section.
Okay.
Okay, even though it's a Newtown section. So in principle two, it talks about, it encouraged the use of electrical vehicles by the municipalities for their fleets. I'd like to see that specifically say Newtown and not municipalities. Because it sounds, if it's a Newtown recommendation to other towns, it would just say Newtown. So it doesn't imply that Wrightstown would need to consider that as an option for its fleets to go electric.
I'm okay with that, yeah.
That was the one thing I'd like
We
to
can
see,
make it singular, the
So it don't-
municipality for
You
its.
see it?
only for Newtown Township.
Do you have it?
Or,
Can that go in the appendix like the other stuff?
yeah, well, it is going in the appendix, but I just want, again, I don't want somebody to read the appendix and say, well, there's a recommendation that vehicles, that we have electric vehicles That's recommended in all the municipalities, it's plural.
In the package.
So it
So,
either says municipality or Newtown Township.
Or we could change the language to soften it enough to say something like, encourage everybody to consider the use of electric vehicles, something like that.
The other item had to do with LED lighting and Newtown was saying, look toward LED lighting throughout the jointure. That's kind of, if that's gonna be a jointure requirement or jointure recommendation, that maybe should go up front. Because I don't, Wrightstown's got a program that we're looking at.
Well, we just
doing that.
adopted one.
So, yeah, just wanted to make it clear that, again, if it's in the back over there, I'm not gonna necessarily look at it.
Maybe just take throughout the jointure and just look toward using LED lighting in the future.
That would be good.
We're not gonna have a choice anyway, right?
Someone we're not. Question is
I
when.
mean, I have a stash of the old bulbs if any.
It can be very valuable.
Sell some on eBay.
Yeah, I view this as being like electric, street lights and that kind of stuff. So. But those are the only comment I have.
so for the first one, just to go back, to promote use of electric vehicles by supporting zoning amendments for charging stations and by encouraging the use of electric vehicles. You want to stay by Newtown, or do you want to make it, I think, Tom, you suggested maybe something more general that could apply to everybody, or?
Well, I think right now it does apply to everybody. It's important.
Right, I didn't know if you wanted to make it a little more general.
I would like it general because I don't really want somebody to come back to Wrightstown and say, well, there's a recommendation that we repower our fleet, because I don't think we're gonna move in that direction.
So these are different issues, all right? So the issue that's being discussed is zoning to support or encourage the use of electric vehicles versus the language that says we're going to have our fleets be electric.
Correct. I'm
So-
okay with the first part.
Right, there's no problem with the first part.
Right.
The issue is on the second part. But I think you can soften by saying, instead of will do, you could say we will consider.
Right.
Right. If that fits with what you're trying to accomplish.
Well, if we're gonna consider it, then it should go in the front part and not in Newtown's appendix. If we're not gonna consider it for the whole jointure, then it should stay in Newtown's section.
So I'm okay with the first part being in the main body of the document about, infrastructure to encourage. Because I think we are all on the same page with that and we want to do that. And that's part of a national initiative. That I don't think we have a choice. Even if we wanted to oppose it, and I'm not saying anybody does. But the second part about our own fleets, it's not really a planning issue. So
You see, you getting that?
Trying. Okay, so do we want to move the first part, sort of incorporate?
There's something we're dividing that statement into two parts. So
Okay.
Going forward, one staying back.
Okay, so then the second part, the encouraging use of electric vehicles.
There you go.
This is our addendum that you're looking at.
How would you like to decide to just drop the jointure and do it for the sentence?
I'd be okay with that. Yeah, so we can move the LED lighting up to the main part of the plan, because that makes sense as a big plan. Goal. We're gonna steal it. They just.
So changes regarding both that subsection I and for one and four.
They didn't have anything else.
Well, Newtown still has an addendum, right?
Yeah.
The other townships have not adopted any kind of addendum at all.
Um,
I have a comment too on the Upper Makes, one of their changes for the renewable energy. For the solar panels, change removed to discuss the following context. Work with the HOAs to discuss any restrictions on solar panels, which I agree with. I guess I missed it in ours to remove. I have an HOA and we have a restriction on solar panels, whether ground or roof mounted, and I don't think that townships should be getting in HOA's business. I think it's up to the HOA to decide. You know, we have restrictions and we actually have one house on our street last week that just called about solar panels and we said well, they're not permitted roof or ground mounted on our street. We only have 12 houses on our street. So I like that.
That's on the Newtown part, right?
In our, yes. In our
Thing that the Newtown would have to discuss.
our verbiage, yeah.
So I think you'll find the Upper Makefield edits or comments are supportive to all of the Newtown comments, but are just comments like that are thought through of how to make them, I'll say more livable.
Okay.
So if they're anything more or less than that, that's not reading the same thing that I read.
You have restrictions on the panels because they're ugly.
Yeah.
I guess if Elon Musk had his way, we could have shingles
Yeah.
that are.
But the issue to our comment is not about whether it's ugly or not ugly. The issue is as simple as if the HOA has a rule, do we want to override the
Yeah.
HOA and require them to adopt something that they may or may not want to
Right.
adopt as a group, period. And that's the type of edit that I think you'll find for the Upper stuff.
So it's up to the HOA to change whatever regulations.
I think that's a good idea.
Right.
Yeah. I don't think you can force an HOA.
Oh, we have a
Certainly
lot
can't
of
in mine.
we have a lot of HOAs in the township.
I know, I'm in
Particularly for
one.
the next 10 years, I think it's
They'd have a fit.
Yeah.
not like the technology is so perfected that it's worth considering
Right.
across the board, making it mandatory. Yeah.
You can see some litigation based on it.
Certainly a lot of.
I believe we added them in our HOA in 2003. We had a resident that wanted to put a giant windmill on their front lawn.
So that's what the edit does say, that the edit does say, you know, in essence, I'm not sure if it actually says encourage or not, but it uses the word the same. This is a good idea,
Yeah.
we just don't want to force people to say you have to do it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We don't want anybody to come in and tell us you have to remove your restriction on solar panels.
Right.
We'll have a mutiny.
They could come and talk to you, is what they're saying.
The HOA could do it. So that would allow them to do it.
I'm a HOA liaison. They don't even invite me to meetings.
Well, I guess there's a lot I could say about that, but I don't.
I think we have to sort of.
I've got a friend at Stark and Stark, you know, the number one revenue driver for Stark and Stark. It's not medical malpractice, it's HOA litigation. I swear to God. It's unbelievable. God bless you. Yeah.
That's pathetic.
It's
Not his.
Yeah.
Sure, you're gonna have this. Come on.
No thanks.
Oh, thanks.
Do they still, I know some used to have restrictions on like clotheslines, hanging clothes out.
Oh, yeah.
I love to hang my clothes.
Yeah, Newtown Grand has that.
Really?
Yeah.
I love hanging stuff.
Hang
I
that.
love hanging out. It's like relaxing and then just seeing them and it's air dried.
Too much work for that.
Newtown Grand has a lot of restrictions.
There's a lot of houses. in there.
Yeah.
1,800 homes, so it is.
Yeah.
Biggest and the best.
Yes.
Um,
I just feel, I mean, I got to, I mean, I looked at it this afternoon, I had 4 meetings today, and at the end of one meeting, I was prepared for the next. I didn't realize this was all in there until like 6 o'clock this evening.
Yeah, sure.
So I still like trying to
look at it.
look at what's forward.
So do we want the planning to, do we want Lisa to start redlining the changes? So that if we agreed, if everybody agrees to the changes, at the next meeting, we can then move forward and don't have to wait for another red line session.
So we'll send a red line version from Upper Mayfield, I think, I'll have to look, I don't know if it's the whole document or just.
He did send a red line version, but,
But there's other changes.
There's other
I'm-
changes,
I'm wondering if
okay.
I could sort of piggyback off that one, that's what I'm wondering.
the other thing, well, you take a look at the format, because he took your PDF and he converted it to Word, so it does some strange things, so.
I don't think it's.
There aren't that many changes to
That's
get back.
right, okay, yeah, I know, that's no problem, if that makes it easier, it probably does make it easier to really read it and see
Yeah.
what. Then that's no problem, we can do that and send it.
Is everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
so we'll have them do that, and then we'll come at the reorg meeting next month, we'll, bring this back up and hopefully move it forward.
Yeah.
Vicky will move it forward.
Yeah, I'll be sitting where she's sitting, just if you have any questions.
Okay, we can do that.
Oh, good. Anything else in the comp plan? All right, the other item from the planning commission
Yeah.
is the memorandum of understanding of agreement of services. That came up.
That's the contract,
Yes,
the planning services agreement, yeah, actually, this was sort of mentioned quite a while ago, our director, like, more than a year ago, sort of went through all the contracts and wanted to have them all updated to be consistent. We have contracts with a lot of different communities, the planning services agreement. They attend every meeting, and then for other types of meeting attendance and projects. So there's really not too many changes to what the current contract is. But the changes primarily were recommended by our solicitor. There are some changes to the fees, but your current plan is your current agreement is from 2003. So since 2003, pretty much most of the positions have gone up $5 an hour. Clerical has gone up 14, and GIS services went up 12 from what it used to be. Clerical services, you really don't, or there's very little, because now we sort of do most of the formatting of things. It just really depends on what's asked for us to do. So anyway, that's one of the main changes. The structure of the agreement is changed a little bit in terms of under number 1, description of professional services. What used to be stated under there in like a subsequent sentence or two, really now is more put in the general planning services, the scope of work at the end. And a lot of it is sort of just to bring things up to date, like, for GIS, I think, there were some other like, not scribing, but other ways of creating maps and things that now they don't do that. So it's just sort of updating the terminology. I believe there were some things added and I think they are, I think they're sort of probably common in most agreements. They have an indemnity clause, severability. There's actually a county IC policy section and assurance. So I think some of them are pretty standard, but I didn't see them in the old contract.
Amy, as to the indemnity question, I would just suggest that you ask for copies of whatever the assurance, whatever insurance company is going to be doing the indemnity. You have to have a specific tail on the policy or an extra rider on the policy to cover these indemnities. Everybody should have those. It should be attached to this agreement.
Okay.
Or at least circulated so everybody solicitor sees them.
Okay.
I think it's good because they oftentimes read very differently. And you don't want to be in a situation where they're so inconsistent that they really can't be used and they're not really enforceable. So just talk to Dan about it. I'm sure that should be included.
What am I asking for though?
The copy of whatever the indemnity agreement is, whatever the policy is that's secured, that covers the indemnity, be attached to this agreement, or at least circulated among the townships.
Are you also then asking that we attach ours?
No, I think,
Because the indemnity says the parties of
yeah,
each.
certainly we're all going to have to make sure that our insurance policies include a reference to this indemnity, and the wording can be very tricky. So, yeah, we should take a look. You probably should direct your solicitor so they can look at that. We'll take a look at ours, but all of us would want to see what the county is giving us.
Okay.
So that we're really all on the same page.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I will ask for that and then just email it.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's fine. It shouldn't be that complicated, but I've seen messes with indemnity agreements.
okay. No, that's good to know.
Yeah. I also noticed that in the building practices, you don't say anything about what happens when we get past 30 days.
No.
There is going to be an interest charge or late fees, or because if it's not there, you can't do it. So if it's to be considered.
Don't give them an idea.
Well, their fees are so ridiculously low, even with this. I'm not giving away secrets.
I was gonna say, that's cheap labor. My
Yeah.
God.
No, we can be open about that. But I just want to make sure.
I don't think there's ever.
I'm on all sides.
No, I don't think there's
I'm
ever
only gonna
really
get the check out on mine.
been a problem, and it does come late. I mean, we're a county agency. I don't.
I don't see it as ever being anything but very cordial. But they're good. I don't see any deadbeats in the room, but the future holds a lot of surprises, so we never know. And do we want to? Do you want to account for that possibility? That's something I'm asking. You can talk to your solicitor about that.
Okay, ask about what if you don't pay within 30 days.
Which we probably can.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
So that everybody
I
understands.
don't even know that it's. Does it say that? Is it expect?
It
does
does
say-
in 4B, that's what it says. So the question is, when you have an organization that only meets once a month, if we're not in sync with your billing cycle and our meeting cycle, it's inevitably going to be greater than 30 days.
Right,
So that's something that should be perhaps acknowledged in this agreement.
okay.
Otherwise, I don't really see anything jumping out as being potentially problematic. It probably should have been updated before this is from 2003.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I said a $5 raise in 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting a good deal.
That's working for the county.
No wonder.
I thought you were missing a 1 or a 2 in there.
Supervisor.
And also the billing, because we've been under this contract still.
Yeah.
It's been billed or under the previous one, I mean, the billing has been under the previous rates, so.
Mhm.
So it's actually, it's this group and the Quakertown Area Planning Committee is the same, or the two that they wanted to bring up to date that hadn't been updated in a while.
So everybody's got a copy of this, read it. Again, we'll circle back at the next meeting, which again, we're doing the organization, you know, we appoint the planning commission as a planner. That'd be a good time then to say, okay, so we'll sign this.
That should be signed at the reorganization.
Yeah, that's, so it's a timely document.
They need to motion and vote anyway.
So just so I'm clear, so it only needs to be signed by by you, Chester, by the chair, or?
Well, I don't know. You've got all these, you asking, you've
In
got,
terms of this group, I know the commissioners have to sign.
yeah, I know. Well, it says here, you put in there chair, vice chair, member. I mean, if you only want the chair, then we should probably only have the chair. Which is fine.
But it doesn't need to go to the 3 townships.
No,
It does not.
it would be, yeah, be signed by this group.
Do you want us to take vice chair out? You know what, they just put that in all of them, but we can take it
Yeah,
out.
if you take vice chair out and take the member out, that way it's just the chair, and then,
The chair on behalf of all members.
yeah.
You may want to a motion date or something like that.
Any other questions on the contracts? The only other new item we have for tonight is, need authorization to advertise, the jointure meetings for next year. So it'll be the first Thursday of each month at 7:30 here in Racine. So do we have a motion to authorize that, Tom?
I'll make that much.
You're second, you're second.
Move it late.
All right, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? You gonna take there or Vicky's gonna take care of it? Vicky, you take care of it.
Okay.
As far as advertising, yeah.
Yeah, that way you have all the paperwork on your,
And all the dates.
and all the days.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to plan that.
Yeah, a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you. All right,
So Chester reorg will be the first Thursday. Okay,
first Thursday, January.
okay, got it.
I wouldn't be worried about your treasure, John. That's what you're worried about.
Yeah, you know, if anyone really wants,
I hope we don't change the treasure because it's. a
no,
pain to go through the-
I'll commit to another year. How's that? I'll give a year's notice.
Got this fancy new computer and everything. I mean, come on.
It's a tool. I mean, what am I complaining about? I'll take me a year to learn it.
All right,
Plus John wants it back. I don't.
now that he's got a computer.
Yeah, right.
I want to use it.
It might be better than this.
Mine's bigger.
All right, any other business for tonight? All right, then, give a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Sam, second? Jane? Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those carried. Have a great evening.